Today we're making my family's favorite sourdough sandwich bread. It's so light and fluffy and not dense at all. First, you add 300 grams of active sourdough starter to your bowl, and then 650 grams of warm water. Mix these two together really well, and then add in 50 grams of honey, 40 grams of avocado oil or olive oil, and then 20 grams of salt. And then mix everything together really well again before you add your flour. You'll be adding 1,000 grams of flour. Then take your dough whisk or your spatula, whatever you have, give it a good mix until it turns into this shaggy dough. Sometimes I use my hands to make sure all of the little dry bits of flour are incorporated into the dough as well. I then take my little scraper and go around the bowl and get all those dry bits off there as well. And then cover it with a damp towel and let it rest for an hour. After it's finished resting, you're going to go around the bowl with a wet hand. It helps the dough not stick to you. Just loosen everything up. And then you're going to be doing your first of 4 sets of stretch and folds, where you just turn the bowl a quarter, lift up the dough, stretch it out a little bit, and fold it over on itself. This is the first round. You're going to do 3 more after this every 30 minutes. This is my 4th set of stretch and folds here, so you can see the dough has changed a little bit. Each time you do this, it's developing more gluten. It's giving the bread some structure. So this is the 4th time going around the bowl, quarter of the way, stretching it up and folding it over on itself, covering it with a towel and letting it rest again. After this last set, you do cover with some plastic wrap. You might want to oil the top of your dough first or give it some flour on top so it doesn't stick, and then put it in your fridge to rest overnight, like 8 to 12 hours. You'll see it will at least double in size. Let it come out of the bowl in the morning and then separate it into 2. Then you're going to start shaping each of those 2 sections by just gently pulling the dough out and stretching it into a gigantic rectangle shape. You can also use a rolling pin to get all the air bubbles out. That helps as well. And then fold each side into the center and then start tucking it in and rolling it in on itself. You want a little bit of tension here, and then when you get to the very end, seal it up really well. And then pinch each of those ends and tuck them under a bit. Place your dough seam side down in a buttered or greased loaf pan and let it rise for another hour or 2. You'll want to score the top of the dough before you bake it. It just allows it to bake and get puffier in the oven. You can also spray the top with a little bit of water and then cover it loosely with tin foil that traps the steam in so they bake off beautifully every time, just like this.